the greatest, most immersive space exploration game ever created. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, isn't Starfield the greatest space exploration game ever? Hell no, obviously. Starfield is absolutely dumpster fire garbage. Starfield is not even 1/1,000,000th as good as this game is. This is also a greater comeback story than Cyberpunk 2077. That's right, you probably know about this comeback of Cyberpunk. It was pretty legendary. From an absolute piece of trash to something that people really enjoy and love nowadays. And No Man's Sky is arguably even easily a better redemption story than that. And the best part? Well, Cyberpunk 77 is, kind of closing its doors and not doing anything new. This game is getting update after update after update, and the best part, it's free. That's right. This thing is amazing. At some point, I firmly believe that we're gonna have massive intergalactic battles in No Man's Sky that players will be able to set in motion and fight over territory. The future of No Man's Sky has so many possibilities. It's effectively Helldivers 2, but in space combat flying saucers thing, okay? It only has one downside, and we're probably going to talk about it, but No Man's Sky is truly, truly an amazing game that you should look into if you haven't.
Over 30 major updates, No Man's Sky bears little resemblance to its launch form, and while the overwhelmingly positive reviews speak for themselves, I can't help but notice a certain type of player in my comments who simply doesn't get on with this game. So in this video, we'll take a closer look at No Man's Sky.
This is, by the way, true. Some people just don't jive with No Man's Sky. It's not for everyone, but it is for most people. And if you don't like it, that's honestly completely fine. This is just, okay, I don't exactly like it. My biggest issue with No Man's Sky is, I'm going to say it off the bat, I honestly think planets are sometimes just too oversaturated with shit. I call it the World of Warcraft retail problem, where, the developers make an urban environment, and it's like no one of them has ever been outside of a city, and then they make a city environment, and the city doesn't feel like a city. They fail at everything, and they're just oversaturated with garbage. Sometimes I do feel that No Man's Sky's planets are slightly too oversaturated, that there's this, and that is honestly a little bit too much. But, that's maybe just me also.
Find out just how good it's
I haven't heard anyone else complain about No Man's Sky in that way, so maybe it is just me.
gotten and whether it's the right game for you. So let's open up with the good bits. No Man's Sky is the most seamless space exploration game that you can get your hands on.
True.
You can forget loading screens because the game replaces them with this, this, and this. Aside from perhaps going between star systems, there are very few opportunities to be taken out of the immersion. Simply the fact that you can go from walking on one planet to taking off, picking up a multiplayer mission, and then completing that mission on an entirely
There's, by the way, so many different planets.
different planet with no loading or interruptions between is a serious technical feat that even games that have been released much more recently simply can't match. No Man's Sky also lets you explore some of the most varied game worlds out there. Yes, there's 18 quintillion planets, and that sounds great on paper and for marketing.
That's not actually a lie.
But more importantly, the game worlds now deliver on the variety and quality that was promised at launch. From active volcanoes to islands, oceans, and a selection of climate types and hazards, there's just a lot going on now. You'll find different...
And again, I just want to say, all of this is in-game. This is in-game footage. This is not a promo for the future. This is all achievable, and, well, there's probably a lot more that was not shown.
Plants and animals on each planet, both on the ground as well as in the air and sea, as well as the odd settlement or trading outposts, which makes the game feel a bit less lonely. No Man's Sky also gives you Minecraft-esque levels of freedom. Want to build a base underwater? You can do that. Fancy tunneling through a mountain? That's also completely possible. But more importantly, you can also build large custom sculptures right next to your friends' bases. On a serious note though, the worlds in this game are fully yours to explore. You can even walk the full circumference of a planet if you want, as there's none of this invisible wall bullshit like we saw in Starfield.
This
game also has a few...
Oh god, Starfield is so shit as a game, I literally
Standout features, which we'll dive into more later, but among them are full VR support, including PSVR, the fact that it's multiplayer.
Dude, the VR stuff, by the way, for games that have it is so insane. I'm actually kind of a little bit jealous. I should buy a VR thing, but then I'll just you know what I'll do. Okay, I'm a gentleman. Bible black all the way. It is what it is.
Cross-platform.
Or maybe well, actually, it's at this point it's Euphoria and then it's Bible black.
And even available.
Things change, you know.
On Switch. In terms of gameplay, you can pretty much...
But no one can ever forget Midnight Sleazy Train. It is what it is. I'm never buying VR because of these things.
Have your own Star Destroyer and build a mobile base inside of it. The multiplayer hub is integrated in one of the most badass ways I've ever seen in a game. You summon it like this. And all the big regular updates are also...
Again, I mean, everything is almost set. Look at this. Everything is pretty much set for some kind of situation where you're just an intergalactic war appears and it's like 10,000 ships versus 10,000 ships happening, and there's literally giant constructions and things like. It's possible. It is possible in No Man's Sky. It should be possible.
And all the big regular updates are also completely free. So No Man's Sky clearly has a lot going for it, but there's an important question to answer that's key to why most players love this game, yet some just don't. And that's, what do you actually do? Well, you start abandoned on a planet and have to fix your ship to escape. This serves as the opening tutorial to the game's main systems, but quite honestly, you've done a good job if you even understand how the menus work by this point. I can't say it's the most comprehensive tutorial. You'll start to get to grips with the game's crafting system, which is a notable aspect of the gameplay loop.
Okay, I think the biggest issue for No Man's Sky, despite things that I don't like, is the fact that the game is the game should be more on rails what a new player can actually experience. Because there are situations where a new player just randomly decides to travel to a planet, and that planet has a ship that they can take, and that ship is like roughly 20 times more powerful than the beginner ship. So everything they do, that's supposed to be incremental increases in the experience and power, just completely eclipses it and one-shots everything for the next 20 hours. Things like that are slightly an issue.
From your ship's fuel to base building parts, you'll have to make them yourself, and this requires having the right materials at the right time. Different resources are also found on different planets, so there's an inherent drive to explore. If you want bigger and better things, then you might begin larger scale material farming, setting up equipment on various planets, or building out capability within your freighter, which is that Star Destroyer looking mobile base I mentioned earlier. Resources can also be obtained through trading, and there's a pretty cool dynamic economy system in this game. Item pricing basically will fluctuate depending on the supply and demand in that system, and this even reacts to what you buy or sell yourself if you do so in large enough amounts. One place you can do this trading is at the space station, where you can also pick up extra missions, build your own custom ships, and dive into the pretty impressive character customization. Talking of those ships, you can also buy and sell those, as with freighters, and there's extensive customization of the weapon systems. You'll need these weapons for the odd bit of combat, which in space has been done pretty well. You can have multiple weapons on board, hire wingmen to...
In space it's fine, on ground it's like...
fight with you, and even choose where to divert power to within your ship. Especially during the early game, confronting sentinel enemies can definitely get your heart up, and spice up what was otherwise a pretty benign mission. Now, before we look at the rest of the gameplay content, this video has been very kindly sponsored by Gamivo.com, who are offering you 5% off everything, including No Man's Sky, with code AGR.
I haven't even heard of a place like that before. Interesting.
Back to the video. Once your freighter is kitted out, you can also buy frigates from other fleets and send them out on missions to earn some passive income. As for your own missions, you can bias them towards more exploration, combat, or perhaps even smuggling, but the various story paths are also there to follow. You may spend time obtaining the exocraft to help you explore planets, or perhaps you'd rather tame an animal which you can then ride. And if you fancy, you can even genetically modify their eggs to get the characteristics that you want. You can also find alien settlements which you then manage and invest in to improve their productivity to make a bit of money, but you may also have to defend them. Many players are also going to spend some serious time working on their bases. I mentioned earlier how you can build them underwater, and that hopefully shows just how much is possible. The sheer variety of base building pieces available to unlock makes properly unique creations very possible. The base you'll be able to build at 10 hours in compared to 100 hours in will be vastly.
I believe to a certain degree that this game is just a underappreciated Minecraft slash Roblox situation because it requires more effort. And, I wish that they did a better job just, doing the small bitty piece. I talked about this in Last Epoch. I love Last Epoch. It's a great game. But again, some animations not that great, and when a person comes in and they play something, and you have only a single target attack and you need to kill 5 enemies, and the animation looks like ass, that makes people leave. Same for bad menus, same for annoying tutorials, same for a lot of things. I think No Man's Sky could gain so much. And by the way, it's already a popular game. Let me actually check the Steam DB. No Man's Sky Steam DB. Yeah, look at. Oh well, okay. The anniversary update just came out, but I mean, still, look at this. This is impressive. This is impressive by all fucking accounts. Their 9-year peak, and yes, this game is literally 10 years old for most intensive purposes of conversation, was 200k, and look at this. 68, well, almost 69, nice, K people playing. Look at this. That's pretty insane. Look at this. It came out, people were like, oh, another free update, let me check it out. Boom, 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 boom. Look at this. This is over the years. This was the release. How absolutely horrid this thing was. Look at this. It died in 7 days. Back in 2016, that was impressive, okay? Now we have games literally dying in 2 days. I mean, seriously, Avowed died in 2 days. And other games dying in a week, but back in 2016, the charts like this were like, okay, someone's getting sued and put in prison, okay? And yeah, because it was bad. The game was bad back in the day. And then they slowly, over time, started just doing things like this. And, well, at the start, it wasn't that good. They needed literally years, by the way, to claw their way back. But, I mean, now we're here. Now we're here, where typically there's like, I don't know, 15k average players per day. It doesn't show averages. Why the fuck? I don't know. But yeah, it's like 15k, 20k, 10k minimum average players per day without an expansion. I think that proves how much it actually claw back into relevance and everything else.
Different in the best possible way for progression. If you're more of a collector, there are rare ships to hunt down or repair, but equally there are enemy freighters to destroy, wrecks to unearth, and ship upgrades to find, which may let you explore previously unreachable planets, for example. Talking of upgrades, all of your vehicles, ships, and even exosuit will have technology slots, which you can then fine-tune with modules of your choosing to upgrade their capabilities. For example, you could get rocket boots or a scanner shield to make smuggling easier, or perhaps a matter beam that lets you access your freighter inventory when you're down on a planet. No matter your playstyle, you will find things to work towards. Talking of different playstyles, more recently added game customization settings help you tune your...
Oh, by the way, it's not like this is Minecraft where you could just drop in and you have no idea what to do. You do have a main quest. So, you can follow that, and that's going to take you a while.
Experience to your life.
Now, granted, if you're a streamer or something, well, none of you are probably streamers, I'm assuming, watching this, but most people who are, like, streamers, you're going to finish this game in, like, a couple of days, most likely, if you're not autistic. Looking at you, Quinn. Anyway, for a normal person, this thing is going to be a month of gameplay, time to time, unless you want to, deep dive it in a week straight.
Liking. If you want a more survival focused game, you can have it, and perhaps turn on permadeath for a real challenge. You can harden up or ease off the combat, or even go for the abandoned mode if you want that true lone traveller experience. So what's actually wrong with No Man's Sky for that minority of players then? Well, while I gave a decent answer to the question of what you actually do, I largely detailed features and things that you can do, not necessarily things that the game makes you do. This is somewhat inherent with open world exploration games, but there's no linear rigid story path that will show you absolutely all of the great features that No Man's Sky has to offer here. One part of the issue therefore is that some players see the shiny gameplay and features and then are disappointed when they play and find nothing is handed to them on a plate. It simply isn't a linear RPG that will serve everything up to you. Secondly though, No Man's Sky does unfortunately have some weak points. I touched on the tutorial being ineffective, and this does hurt the opening gameplay, which is already quite slow as it is. There is just so much going on in this game, and that's brilliant, but it takes some perseverance to figure it all out.
Yeah, again, I don't know, but I look at this, I see just oversaturation.
In the beginning. For most players, that is completely fine, but others just aren't prepared to watch the odd tutorial or be looking stuff up on the wiki too often. The somewhat optional story element is also a non-starter for some players. The narrative should really be considered a light backstory that frames your exploration, and because of that, I think it's completely okay that it's delivered through just written messages. That said, if you're looking for a story-driven experience with dialogue and cutscenes, then No Man's Sky will fall at the first hurdle for you. This is an exploration game with the bonus of some story, not the other way around. From a gameplay point of view, the ground combat does stand out as a weak point. While there is some decent variation now in gun and enemy types, the weapon handling and movement...
It's not even the gun and enemy types. I mean, every one of us sees it, right?
Variation now in gun and enemy types, the weapon
you kill enemy, it explodes into a pile of disappointment. That's the best way that you can call it. Okay? That's just it. That's bad. Like, giving guns a little bit more oomph is pretty easy in my honest opinion. Most games do it. Like, fuck, look at Tainted Grail. It invigorated melee combat in games like that for me with just a little bit of slowdown when the end hit happens. It was beautiful. But this is like, you know, you should... If the death animations, not even how weapons handled, death animations alone were Helldivers tier, bruh, people would fucking shit themselves to play this. And by the way, again, No Man's Sky has infinity potential. It literally could become Helldivers. Just add better gun gameplay, add better death animations, add a little bit of oomph, add a little bit of this and that, and then go create planets that have, like, hives on them that you need to conquer and, you know, kill the brain bug and stuff. I'm doing my part.
And movement system just isn't built for a smooth combat experience. Fighting feels clunky and like a bit of an afterthought, which to some extent...
I mean, even the camera angle is fucked, let's be honest here. But at least this camera angle, but it's pretty bad. Like, damn.
Was, but you're naturally going to compare it to the...
Also, stop with the futuristic guns. I'm not a gun guy, okay? I don't know guns like that, you know? Americans, a lot of Americans know guns like that. But, like, what the hell are you holding in your fucking hand? Is that a pea shooter? What is that? The Fallout 3 BB gun was a more intimidating piece of equipment than whatever this fucking hamburger-looking shit is. It's just like, hire some guy who actually is an artist and knows what real guns look like, and just make them slightly more futuristic if you feel like it. That's it. That's it. That would, like, No Man's Sky combat is so fucking ass, but it doesn't need to be. That's kind of the grand super takeaway here, I feel. It's ass, but it has no reason to be this much ass. It could be amazing. And again, most combat requires so little to be actually good.
Experience of other combat-focused games, and this lets it down. It also doesn't help that combat is rarely framed in meaningful ways. Yes, I said it spices up other missions when you get an unexpected encounter, but when it comes to expected combat-focused missions, the depth is often lacking. But with all that said, No Man's Sky is an awesome experience for the vast majority of players. It's the ultimate rags to riches space exploration fantasy.
True! Absolutely 100% true, I would like to say. Anyway, that was average game reviews. 10 out of 10. No Man's Sky is a really good game. If you haven't tried it, I suggest you do. And again, I think it has infinity potential. Bye!